Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Desi, and for this particular video, I wanted to kind of focus on the dark side of inceldom. Now, this person is a self-admitted incel, as far as I know. His channel is called Loser Maxing, and I've listened to a few of his videos, and they're quite depressing, but at the same time, I have a morbid curiosity with them, and this was the first one I came across. This guy has like 1.5 thousand or 1500 1600 subs, so he's pretty close to being monetized. So but essentially he's 35 years old, doesn't have a job, never been in a relationship, hasn't really held a job, and essentially lives with his dad, and he doesn't really see a way out. And I've just been doing a lot of thinking and contemplating, and I'm just wondering, he's not happy with his situation, but what out does he have? How does he see himself breaking out of this cycle? And there's a lot of videos that he posts, so he obviously has some sort of passion for video making and video editing, but this is a man who is devoid of hope. I've been philosophizing, if that's even a word, about our current state as human beings, our connection with the world, and if we're better off now than we were, 200 years ago. And I hear a lot of people, I've watched a couple of videos about people being in wage slavery, essentially being trapped in a job they don't like, being overworked, and not being able to fully fulfill their dreams and desires. And here you have someone who has all this free time, this thing that people cherish. It's like Office Space. It's such a cornerstone of modern discussion of like, what is the point of life? Why am I working for, a system that's corrupt and the rich keep getting richer? But hasn't it kind of always been that way for human existence? And is this guy here, or do a lot of people that, are working the 9 to 5, have gone through a divorce, have lost custody of their kids, and essentially been broken by the system? Is this their ideal lifestyle, having no responsibility? Because I hear that a lot. And I've seen that in movies, like I think it was American Beauty and Office Space, of just this laid back lifestyle, not having to worry about anything, having all the time in the world during the day to fulfill whatever you want. And yet here you have this person living that ideal non-committal lifestyle, and yet he's miserable. But anyways, I've rambled on enough about this, so let's watch this video.
Okay, so today I thought I'd make this video just to talk a little bit about what my day-to-day life is like as a 35-year-old, bald, unemployed, sub-5 loser. Usually I
Coming in hot right off the bat.
wake up around anywhere from 9 to 10:30 a.m. And after I wake up, I usually just kind of grab my phone, and I don't get out of bed. I usually lay in bed for an hour or two, just scrolling on my phone, scrolling through Reddit or Twitter or some other sites. Eventually I do get out of bed, and when I do that, I'll brush my teeth, and then I'll just go sit at my desktop, and I'll just basically do the same thing that I was doing in bed, except now I'll go sit at my computer.
And to be honest, this is something that I still sometimes struggle with, because I'm self-employed and my career is all over the place in terms of how busy I am. And the days I have off, it's just like, oh, I don't have anything to do, so I'm going to scroll on the phone, I'm going to sleep in or whatever. And what's the term? Idle hands do the devil's work. So I can relate to that somewhat.
And do it there, just browsing the internet, looking through Reddit, and maybe watching some YouTube videos.
And to be honest, this isn't abnormal behavior. Some people do this to charge up, essentially. My best friend does this. Is she'll wake up early, but she'll need to watch videos or Instagram cat videos or whatever to wind up essentially for the day. It's calming to her. And it sounds like this is kind of what this guy does, but he does it every day, and then he just doesn't do anything beyond it. So
Is. And I know it's bad for me, but inevitably I always end up watching let's call it adult videos at some point. I always end up doing it, but I mean, what can I say? I'm addicted, and I have been for a long time. I mean, I had unrestricted internet access at a
So this is something that a lot of men struggle with, and I've been there myself, even though I'm ace. I don't want to get too far into it, but I'm a fantasy builder. Adult videos, and I don't watch adult videos, but that fantasy or whatever is a time sink. And it's something that, for me, when I did get stuck in that time sink, I had to establish boundaries of like, okay, well, I'm going to go a week without fantasizing or fantasy building, and I'm not going to cut into that. And if I do cut into it, I'm going to go 2 weeks or whatever. You have to really establish limits because it's a time sink. It's like anything else. And it's like watching videos or doom scrolling or anything else. It's the same thing.
I got addicted to it very early, and
I have a story about that too. I'm sorry for interrupting so many times. But when I was like 13, my friends who were super Christian, their dad discovered adult videos. This was like 2003. That's just tells you how old I am. Yeah, and I remember just being completely disgusted with them because back then I didn't know I was ace, and like I had seen like pop-ups and stuff, and I was like, this is disgusting. And I have a very certain type of fantasy that doesn't have to do with like the act that's portrayed in adult videos. That is disgusting to me, but I have other fantasies like, dang it, teases that involve removing clothing. There we go. But anyways, about my friend, because I just completely went off on a tangent again. Yeah, they watched adult videos and they were super Christians, and their mom was like super judgmental about me because I was like not religious and I just I didn't respect adults or whatever. And I was like, you people are all a bunch of hypocrites. Y'all watching like adult videos and you have the gall to preach and tell me that I'm a sinner. You people are hypocrites. So that's my fun story about adult videos.
everything they say about how it, messes with the dopamine in your brain and all that. So I don't even know the full effects, but yeah, I do that pretty much every day, usually sometime in the morning.
And for me, it's like a lost time thing. And that's what I think is, I don't even know if it's a dopamine thing. I think it's after you get done completing the act, and especially if you're obsessed with it and you sunk like, some people sink like 4 hours into it, and you finish and you get that little pang of pleasure, but then you realize that you've just wasted 4 hours of your life when you could have been outside or gardening or even like playing a video game or something like that. You've just wasted 4 hours of your life that you'll never get back pursuing something that lasts like 10 seconds. So that's just my take.
It's weird because when I do have a game that I'm excited to play, I might actually just play that game for 12 hours a day for, a week straight, and then I won't play any games for 2 months after that. But
Yeah, when new games come out, I'm less obsessive than I used to be. But if something new comes out, and this has changed a lot, especially with WoW. When a WoW expansion came out back in the day, I used to play that like nonstop. But now I don't know what it is with video games. It's just they don't hit the same dopamine levels that they used to, and I don't know if that's just me getting older. But I find this sounds so cliche, like just going out on a walk or doing some gardening is just more fulfilling than playing games. And it's just, I guess I've just put so many hours into it that my dopamine circuits for gaming has been shot. But yeah, if something's really good, or if it's like a game I'm playing with friends, yeah, I'll play the crap out of it.
either way, yeah, my day-to-day life, I'm either browsing the internet, watching YouTube videos, or maybe playing games, or watching adult videos, unfortunately. Now, usually around 9 or 10.
It sounds like the biggest regret he has isn't like spending time watching videos and scrolling or doing whatever, it's watching adult videos. I think that's where the real guilt comes from here. At least that's what I'm getting from him.
p.m. my dad will cook dinner, or he'll either cook dinner or he'll go out and pick something up, or he'll order a pizza, or sometimes he'll make me go out and pick something up. And I mean, I can't really say no because he's paying for it, and by that time I'm hungry anyway, so yeah. And the reason we eat
I'm curious to see what his interpersonal relationship is like with his dad. Because his dad just seems to. Maybe his dad's like super introverted. Maybe his dad's also a gamer or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting that his dad like covers his food and everything else like that and doesn't like, hey, you need to chip in.
eat so late is because my dad's retired now, so he's kind of on a similar schedule to my.
Oh, so his dad's probably getting social security and he probably like, he doesn't have a job, so he's already done his wage slavery. And maybe that's why his dad is like willing to let his son just do whatever. Is because his dad was like, I had to bust my hump for like 40 hours a week on a job that I hated, and I'd rather see my son do nothing but have all this time to do what he wants rather than be stuck in the wage slavery trap. I don't know. That's just a hypothetical based on like the 5 minutes that I've watched this.
With dinner, similar to how I treated lunch, I grab my plate, take it back to my desk, and I sit there and I watch YouTube videos, or sometimes I might get on Netflix or.
So he doesn't even eat with his dad. Like, this guy is like a super introvert. He does not get any social interaction. And this is such normie crap that I'm spewing, but like my 20s were a lot of my 20s were almost identical to this guy's, especially when I got out of college and the job market was crap and I thought everything was hopeless. But if you don't have social interaction, it literally causes like deform, at least from what I've heard and seen, it causes your brain not to develop properly. It causes certain parts of it to shut down. Like, he doesn't even eat dinner. That's sad. Like, I guess he has this YouTube. So I guess this is his outlet. And I'm really glad this guy's producing videos because at least he has some people to talk to and some source of communication with the outside world.
My dad might come knock on my door and get on to me about, I don't know, not doing the dishes, or maybe he'll want me to mow the grass or something, or he'll just, get on my case about not having a job or.
Okay, so his dad does like get on him, but it doesn't sound like he's really it almost sounds like he's going through the motions. Cause if I was doing this with my mom and I didn't have a job and I wasn't moving forward, she would just throw me out. Obviously if I was in a desperate situation and I was like on disability or something like that, or I was going through a mental crisis, she'd support me. But if I wasn't doing anything and she had to ask for everything, which happened in my 20s, and she also started charging me rent once I got a job too. And even when I didn't, she's like, you need to pay for living expenses. Yeah, she would have just, if I was in this guy's situation, she'd just throw me out and be like, you need to figure stuff out on your own. Like, there's no reason why you can't like go and try to support yourself, find some friends to go live with. And even if you didn't have any friends, just like go out and tough it out, because you're not growing here in this situation. You need to leave. You're decaying in front of me, and you're my child, and I love you, and I can't see you decay like this and just do nothing about it. But it sounds like his dad knows this, but just either because he had a bad life and he's retired and doesn't want his son to follow in his footsteps or something else like that, or something else entirely, just kind of goes through the motions but doesn't actually do anything about it. So I'm not going to say enabling because I don't know the full story, but it kind of sounds that way.
Just, it makes sense. He gets frustrated. He wants me to get a job. He wants to see me succeed, but it is what it is. And by this point, when I first moved back in with my dad, he really got on my case a lot. Like, it happened pretty often. But nowadays, he's kind
just this game, like Red Dead Redemption 2 has some amazing graphics, and I remember when I played it, I was first blown away, but I played it for a couple hours and got bored because there was I'm going off on a tangent about games, but this is so beautiful. This game, like, and I had a graphics card that was good enough to run it in pretty high settings too. It's just stunningly beautiful, but I hate how the weapons work. I don't like the fact that there's like level up systems. There's no like level up guns. I'm more of like a Borderlands style open world where you progress And each weapon you get evolves into like a better weapon. Your skills are, I didn't see that in RDR2. But anyways,
He doesn't really get on my case that much anymore. He might occasionally. So yeah, that's
I'd really like to see what the dynamics are with this guy and his father. Sounds like his dad just sort of given up, which is sad. But I mean, his dad probably is dealing with his own issues, if I were to guess.
another thing in my day-to-day life. Occasional arguments with my dad. Although it's not really much of an argument. I don't really argue. If he gets on my case about washing dishes, I'll probably just eventually go wash the dishes. And I do feel bad about it, about not really pitching in my fair share. I mean, I'm not.
Okay, so with the dishes and not doing the lawn, not being proactive, I would guess that this person has clinical depression. And depression, he feels guilty too, which shows that he's not like a sociopath. Like his brain is functioning right, and he's guilty about not doing these things. He's guilty about not helping out and being proactive, and guilty about time sinks and everything else, but he just simply has this weight, this burden, this cloud over his head that completely saps his energy and takes away his spoons. If we're talking spoon theory, he doesn't have any spoons to spend, and he just has to be prodded and prodded and prodded to do like the most basic things. So the question is this person a loser, or is he just depressed?
Really, truly, I'm not good at keeping things clean. I don't help much with chores unless I'm asked. And yeah, I understand. My dad gets frustrated. Anybody would. It sucks. And I know.
Yeah, you see right here, he's cognizant and he's aware of what's going on. He just doesn't have the energy and motivation to fix it. You're depressed because you don't have the energy to do anything, and you don't have the energy to do anything because you're depressed. That's it. So it's like an Ouroboros of depression. It's circular.
And now, a lot of days, probably roughly half the time, my day will go pretty much exactly what I just laid out, but with one difference. The one difference is about half the time, I'll also smoke weed all day. And
I'm sorry. Where does he get the money for his weed?
I hate it. I really hate it because it's like I'm already super high inhibition. I already have crippling social anxiety. And when I'm stoned, it's just like my anxiety is multiplied tenfold, and it's obviously bad for me, bad for my health, hurting my lungs.
Okay, so if it's hurting his lungs, this is coming from somebody who smokes occasionally, like once a month now. But if he's hurting his lungs, like he's smoking a lot, like he's downing several grams a day or whatever, or like a gram a day or what. I don't even know. Now I'm such a lightweight. I have like a couple puffs below me in a different dimension. But one of the things I will say about weed though is unless it's like in a really the proper situation, I do not like the way I feel when I smoke. It completely saps like my energy level. It basically puts my head in a fog, and it's hard for me to do like basic tasks, or I should say it's hard for me to do anything beyond like basic things. Like if I'm trying to cook a meal when I'm stoned, I won't be able to find anything. I'll keep like forgetting things every 5 seconds. It completely destroys my short-term memory. It like gives me cotton mouth, makes my eyes super red, and I don't like that I can't function on any sort of higher level. The only time that I'll smoke and I need to just grind levels, or if I need to do something that's super mundane, where I don't have to go anywhere or do anything. But yeah, weed is just not my cup of tea anymore. And it sounds like he does it out of habit. And a lot of the reason why I used to smoke is because I was bored. And when I was like in my 20s out of college, I went through like a year and a half of what this guy went through, about a year, I'd say, actually, of just like getting up, getting bored and smoking. Then at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I started drinking in a repeat. And it was boredom. And it sounds like it's the exact thing he does. And he hates it. And also, like, if you're doing it on a regular basis because you're bored, you're just pissing away money. Or in my opinion, like, the ganj and alcohol or whatever are for very special occasions when you're with friends, on a family outing, or in nature, in the woods or something like that. And even then, you don't need it because you should be able to enjoy it without enhancing. But he's just doing it on a habitual basis, which is just a way to piss away your money. It sounds like he doesn't have any money to begin with. If you have depression, it does not help at all. It does for a little bit. It distracts you from being depressed, but then you're depressed because you haven't done anything because you've been high all day. So, yeah.
It's bad for my brain. It's bad for how it makes me just almost turns me into a zombie or something. And it's like when I smoke, a
Yeah, that's right there. Right there. This guy gets it.
lot of times nowadays, it's like I don't even feel that much better, you know? I don't even enjoy it that much. It's almost like it's just bringing me back to normal or something. And I know that's kind of
That's what alcoholics say. He has a habit. Hate to see it, but this guy is intelligent. He's perfectly aware of what's going on, but he doesn't have the will. I wouldn't say willpower, because that's a loaded term. He doesn't have the ability, because of depression and because of addiction, to get out of his situation. How can you even criticize or hate somebody like this? It's sad. Like, I get incels can be a very loathsome group of people, and compared to the last guy they watched, the Mr. Know Nothing or King Know Nothing, this guy was like in the King Know Nothing drinking years, as he referenced. He's in the pit. He's in the hole. And he doesn't see a way out. He's got potential depression and ganja. I can't say the M word. Mary Jane. Mary Jane. He's got Mary Jane addiction and depression potentially. And he's in the rut. And he repeats. And I myself get in this struggle of repeating, especially when work's slow. So I can relate. But it's like, how do you hate somebody like this? Like, you don't have a heart if you hate somebody like this. This is somebody who needs help, a therapist. But how do you get a therapist if you don't have any money or you don't have a job? That's the problem. Therapy isn't covered by insurance. Of course, our insurance system is just freaking god-awful in this country. So how does he get out? That's the challenge.
make the thumbnail and edit the video together with the gameplay footage just like directly after I record the audio.
Yeah, and this guy is like a good editor. So I hope like he gets some attention on YouTube. I don't think he's been like I think this is like a couple of days ago and he's already got like 6,000 views on it if I'm not mistaken. So if he sticks with this, and it sounds like he's doing boxing, maybe this is his outlet. Maybe this is his therapy, we can hope, is to talk about it. And he has people responding. A lot of it's other incels, like, they probably don't make him feel better, being like, oh, I'm in the same boat, oh, life is meaningless or whatever. But there are people who like jump in and be like, hey, you know, I was at your position 7-8 years ago and this is how I got out or whatever. So there's a lot of encouragement. It's actually pretty sweet for how awful YouTube can be.
So yeah, that's pretty much what my day-to-day life is like. It's not good. I mean, this is me, 35 years old. And just imagine me imagine if I did meet a girl that maybe liked me. I mean, how long could that last? Like, how long could
Okay, now he's getting into the relationship thing. If he met a girl who liked him and she was in the same, well, if she was in the same boat, then they wouldn't meet in the first place. You see, that's the thing. Maybe he'll find somebody who's in the same boat, but you meet somebody who likes you, who's in the same boat as you, she's going to have depression, she's going to have substance issues, and it's going to be, and this person like is self-admitted introvert, it's not going to go anywhere. So it's not even, I'm unappealing to women. That's not it at all. And that's the thing. It's like, I'm bald, I'm socially awkward, I don't have a 6-figure job or whatever. That's why incels think that they're incels. They think that the game is rigged against them. Which, for some women, they do want that. And for some men, they want, like, 20-something-year-old woman, a certain body type or whatever. It's the opposite side of the same coin. They just assume that all women are materialistic and only want a certain body type, a certain person. When they don't even listen to women, they listen to each other and have this echo chamber. Again, he's in the incel mentality of, I have these physical defects which make it so I can't get a girlfriend, when the issue is there are women who are in the same boat as he is. Undoubtedly. He assumes that this is a male-only phenomenon, that he's in this boat and that other women aren't in this boat. You know, of course, women don't suffer from mental illness or go through the same things men do, because this is a male-only experience, because men are cursed and women can just go out and do whatever and find a Chad and get carried. But if you're a man, you're completely screwed. This is only applicable to men. But anyways, I'll get off my soapbox with that.
Any woman remain interested in a guy whose day-to-day schedule is like what I just laid out? I mean, it's truly pathetic. I mean, what, you know, actually thinking about it and laying it all out like this and talking about it,
Well, it's good he's talking about it. This is the first step. I don't think he's ever talked about this before. He's probably just gone through his 20s and early 30s just doing the same thing over and over again, the same routine. But now he's finally found an outlet, so that's great.
really making me see more and more. I mean, I already knew this, but just thinking about it more in depth like this, man, that is the life of a pathetic loser. That is like, you know, nothing.
And one thing too that I've noticed is he's most upset when he's talking about how women would see him. Like, I am a pathetic loser because no woman would want to date me. And this is where you see this is the most emotion that I've heard from him. And this is the problem that our society has. And I'm going to completely go off my regular tangent and say men see themselves through women's eyes. Even gay men sometimes do this. It's a cultural thing. They see their value through a woman's eyes, even if it isn't realistic. And this needs to change. Because when he was talking about, my dad, I don't help around the house enough or whatever. I don't do the dishes. I don't mow the lawn. I only do stuff I'm asked. That's pretty sad. But now he's talking about, oh my gosh, a woman would never want to date me. I'm a pathetic loser. It's like completely different tone and attitude.
Nothing positive the whole day, just never waking up for a reason, you know, just laying in bed for 2 hours after I wake up before I even manage to get out of bed. I mean, I don't know. Could it be worse? Yeah. Yeah, it could probably be worse. But is it good? No, it's not. It's really bad. I can't keep living like this, man. I gotta... I don't know, man.
You see, I can't keep living like this. You can hear the exasperation in his voice, but it's only after he talks like, oh, well, I could never get a woman because of this and this and this. And this should not be the motivation for him changing his life, is because of what a woman would see. Do it for yourself. Do it because of self-love. Love yourself. Don't look at it, oh, well, I need to better myself so I could get a partner. Like, forget that.
Listening to report about boxing class, you know, I go, I get a good workout. I mean, it's a great workout, a lot of cardio. We also do some like push-ups and pull-ups and a bit of body weight exercises. So I am getting a little bit of strength training too, so that's good. And yeah, I mean, it's not a whole lot of socializing, but there is, you know, a bit of one-on-one socializing with other people, which the one-on-one stuff, I really like that. So I think it's turned out that this boxing class is really great. I think this could, now I don't want to get my hopes up, but I think it could be a game changer. You know, I'm starting to see some results as far as my health and fitness. I'm starting to feel more positive in general, something that I haven't felt in a long time. So I gotta say, I am feeling fairly optimistic now. You know, when I think about my life, I talk about my life like I've just been doing for the past however long, then I start to feel pretty bad. It sucks, but I do have this one positive thing, so.
Yeah, I see a lot of videos like this, and there's a lot of young people too that, you know, live with their parents because the housing market is so screwed. And there's even people that have homes and have lived the quote-unquote American dream and are miserable. I can point to some of my friends who have kids, homes. One of my family members works like 80 to 100 hours a week, and he's in his 40s, and it's just like, cuz you're going to be gone by the time you are able to enjoy life. All you do is work. So I guess the question is, what is the key to happiness in life? Is it a balance between free time and work or whatever? And are we better off now than we were 200 years ago? Because like people are saying, oh, this is such a miserable time to be alive. But 200 years ago, 500 years ago, you worked in a field. If you're 90% of the time, you just worked in a field for your entire life, and you died of, I don't know, tuberculosis at 25. So but also back then, you worked in a field, but you lived next to an entire village who had the same sort of lifestyle, almost sort of a quasi hunter-gatherer existence, and you met a young lady or young man through being in the village and knowing everybody and having this social network. So yeah, back then things were a lot worse, but they're also a lot better in terms of social things. And I would say depression and things like that weren't talked about as much then because of the social networks. And I think there's something to that. And I believe it's a lot of books talk about this. It's a lot of psychology is focused on that, because it's like we're in such an advanced technological state, but yet depression is so prevalent. So this guy, a lot of working people that I've met and a lot of people I've seen on the internet who have successful lives and work, have a house and a mortgage, everything else, wish they could have this guy's existence. But then he wishes he could be in their shoes or whatever. So it's just interesting. I'm interested to see where this guy goes if he keeps posting or whatever. And I hope he's okay and hope he sticks with this boxing thing. But it's hard to, like, this is a self-identified incel, and it's completely hard to dislike or call this person names or whatever, because he's aware of his situation, but he has debilitating, it sounds like, depression and addiction. So anyways, this isn't the most positive of videos of mine, but I saw it, and it's a Saturday and it's raining outside, and I had nothing better to do, so I thought I'd comment on it. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.